I think we've got a letter here, isn't it? There we go. Hello, what's your question?
Hi, Paul. Hi, future Prime Minister. Question for you tonight is, what would you do to immediately ramp up our domestic defence against our country for potential invaders, given the rise of the international unrest and instability at the moment?
Well, I think this is going to be one of the real issues that people focus on coming into the election. And the reason I say that is that the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, the Defence Minister, have been going around for the last few years saying that we live in the most precarious period since the end of the Second World War. So, I mean, just think about that and unpack it for a second, because they don't say anything beyond that. So since 1945, all of the conflicts in the Middle East, the Cold War, everything that's taken place, the instability, the terrorist attacks on 9/11, this is the most precarious period now. And if that's the case, what are we doing about it? Well, the government's taken $80 billion out of defence, and our argument is that you need to put money into defence to make sure you can pay for AUKUS, not just the submarines, but Pillar 2 of AUKUS as well. And you need to provide support to defence in their acquisitions. And we've announced a further squadron of the F-35s, which I think will be of significant benefit to our country. And so no country of our standing in the history of the world has ever been in a position of strength through having a weak defence force. Any adversary looking at us over the course of the next century will look at the capabilities that we've got, which is exactly the reason why we negotiated so hard with the United States and the United Kingdom when I was Defence Minister to negotiate the AUKUS submarine deal. The AUKUS submarines, particularly for an island nation like us, will underpin our security for the next century. But we need to invest in more than that. And that's exactly what we advocate going into this election. There's a big difference on national security in an uncertain time, the most precarious period since the Second World War, where the Prime Minister makes that statement and then does nothing about it. And our argument is that you need to make proper investments into defence, and that's what we're committed to doing.
Are there things that we should have progressed by now in our defence system that better pick up these Chinese warships, these Chinese surveillance ships? Obviously, you're not going to show your hand about what you know, but have we dropped the ball in 3 years about the capacity to see what they're doing, to be able to know that a ship like the one flowing through the south right now may well have the capability of having a craft on it that could cut a cable that cuts us off from the world?
Well, I just think it's amazing when we need to rely on a Virgin pilot to tell the Prime Minister that there's a problem off our coast. And the Prime Minister shrugs his shoulders and just says, oh, well, you know, the Australian Navy does, you know, circumnavigate different ports and seas and sea lanes, etc. I mean, there's no equivalence with the Australian Navy. And I think we need to be very clear about it. When you're starting to track where pipelines and cables are positioned, and when you're surveilling in the way that has taken place, the pennies should be dropping for Australians, that we need to make sure that we can protect and defend ourselves. And you do need the capabilities, the underwater capabilities, the autonomous vehicles. There's a lot of money when we were in government that we put into autonomous underwater capability so that you can project your capacity and your capability further than the surface fleet. So talking in sort of normal language, where you've got ships, or if you've got underwater capacity with the submarines, that you can send underwater drones further out. They might have explosive capability, they might have surveillance capability. These are all assets that are required. People talk a lot about drone capability, which is important, but we're not a landlocked country, so there's a type of drone which will be of benefit to us, and others don't have the distance or capability that would be of benefit to us as a continent. But the guided weapons enterprise that we established when we were in government, this government's essentially put it on pause, and yet we should be acquiring that capability, because any adversary that's looking at us should be saying, you know what, not today. We're not thinking about Australia. We're worried about Australia and the retaliation that could come, and that's what will maintain peace. We will only maintain peace, as you know, many people have said, through the course of history, through a position of strength, not weakness, and that's exactly the approach that we will take in government.